Good afternoon, everybody. It is 7:30 in the evening in central Italy and 1:30 in the afternoon in New York City. I'm Sam Kimball from New York Wine Events. Thank you so much for joining us on virtual day trip to wine country presented by Citi. We are here for 4 great wines today from a spectacular winery in the Lazio region of Italy, perhaps the most beautiful winery in the entire province and region of Lazio. I want to welcome everybody, and please feel free as we proceed through the session to ask any questions you have during the session by using the chat function in Zoom. We'll answer as many of your questions and comments on the fly as we proceed. We have a great winemaker with us today, so please don't be shy. Definitely hit us with questions and comments as we go, and we will respond. Also, if you would, hit the chat right now and let us know where you are tuning in from. What country or what part of the US are you tuning in from? We love to see that. So greetings. I see North Carolina, Sonoma County, California. Great to see everybody. That is great. So today we're going to travel virtually to the Lazio region of Italy. Lazio is in the central part of the country, and let me show you that area on a map. It's not one of the most well-known parts of Italy, but it's definitely close to other well-known parts. As you can see with that red map pin in my background here, it's only about 50 miles or so, 55 miles north of Rome, smack dab in the middle of the country. It's near Umbria, which is another well-known wine region. And it is absolutely gorgeous. A few things, interesting things to know about Lazio. It is, as I said, near Rome. It has a beautiful countryside. And it is probably as beautiful in many ways as Tuscany. There are many small landmarks to visit, some really cool places. One of those places is right behind me in my background, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But in particular, the cuisine of Lazio is also one of Italy's most well-known regional styles of cooking. Thanks mostly to 2 incredibly well-known and delicious pasta dishes, spaghetti alla carbonara. Most of us are familiar with that and fans of it, and bucatini alla matriciana. So those 2 types of pasta come straight out of the Lazio region. Interesting, fun factoid to know. So as I mentioned, Lazio also has many landmarks and cool places to visit. And in my background, over my left shoulder here, there is, you can see a little village on a hill. And I want to zoom in on that and tell you a little bit about it, because it's really cool, and it is very much wrapped up in the identity and in the experience of when people visit and go to the Lazio region. So I just put this little village on the hill up on the screen behind me. It is a little place called Civita di Bannoregio, which I'm pronouncing only mediocrely well, where they have beautiful and ancient village and ruins, which is still inhabited by 16 people. There's still a small population in Civita. The village is in a very solitary area up on a hill, only reachable by a pedestrian bridge that was built 25 years ago, 1995. And the village has actually progressive erosion of the hill on which it sits. And that erosion is an ongoing phenomenon and thing. And so as a result, there is a danger that sometime in the future, the village could disappear. And as a result, the village of Civita di Bannoregio is also known as the dying town. But it is a little bit of a tourist attraction in Lazio, very interesting stuff, all in a region that is a much less famous part of Italy than Tuscany or other parts, but is very well worth visiting. All right, so our wine theme for today's session is the effect of wine growing that comes from volcanic soil. And we'll hear more about that from our guest in a moment. Where we're headed is an absolutely spectacular winery, as I mentioned, which is known as D'Amico Wines. And I'm going to put up a little visual in my background here. That is actually the main building. It is an absolutely gorgeous site and place, and we'll see some other images momentarily. D'Amico Wines, D'Amico Winery is located in the town of Vaiano in central Italy. And Vaiano is, again, about 55 miles northwest of Rome and 15 miles northeast of a place called Viterbo, which some people might be familiar with. In a nutshell, D'Amico Winery has pursued winemaking very much in a passionate way around some of the traditional French winemaking styles, but using native grapes and Italian grape varietals. And they've created an award-winning portfolio of 8 all organic wine labels and wine styles and brands. The winery was founded in 1985, and it's heavily influenced by that volcanic landscape and soil that is in the town of Vaiano, where the winery is located. D'Amico Wines has received accolades, awards, and major notice from some of the world's top wine publications: Vin Italy, James Suckling, Robert Parker, Condé Nast Traveler magazine, and many more. We are really pleased and honored to host the winemaker from D'Amico Wines, Guillaume Gelly. Welcome to the broadcast, Guillaume. It is great having you with us on the show today.
Hello, Sam. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Hello to everyone who's following us.
It's great seeing you, and it's great seeing people from as far afield in the U.S. as Philadelphia, Northern California, Sunnyvale, Manhattan, New York City.
Great.
So Guillaume, where does the broadcast find you exactly today?
So we are in the museum, the cellar of the winery, where we're aging all the old vintages about the wine we're presenting today.
Excellent. And tell us, what are you doing at the winery at the moment? I know that every part of the year brings a different set of tasks and projects for a winemaker. What's happening right now in your role as a winemaker at the winery?
At the moment, we are in the full season. I mean, it's the springtime, so we have a lot of work inside the winery. We got a lot of work outside in the vineyard while the season just started. So the bud burst in the vineyard, and we are not, as you mentioned, we are all organic. So we are not far from the first organic spraying. And it will see, it's still a fresh season for the moment. We got quite a light but bad frost 1 week ago. And he hurt a little bit some places of the vineyard. And so, you know, we're straight in front of the risk of the season, of the nature.
And tell me, when you do organic spraying, tell us how that's different than when a winery that isn't organic is spraying the vines, and what.
So yes, organic means absolutely no chemical product to spray. So we are based on the copper and the sulfur, and we are allowed to use much lower, let's say, quantity compared to the other people who are not organic. So even if we are organic, we still focused on reducing the dose and letting the nature make by itself the work. But we are just here to support the growing season, the green period, and depending on the weather, more or less. About the organic viticulture is more up to the season, the humidity, the moisture. And so for the moment, it's quite cold, still cold for the season. It didn't start really really quickly, and but I think by the end of the month, by the month of May, the temperature will get higher and the season will really start finally.
And now, in your part of Italy, in Lazio, central Italy, is it quite hot in the summertime?
Yeah, it's quite hot. The picture you put on the back before, it's exactly the view we have from the winery. So the Calanchi Valley, where is located Civita di Bagnoregio, the dyeing village. And here we got kind of light white tuffo. It's not the black tuffo, the black volcanic rock like in Sicily or in the south of Italy. We are more on the white tuffo. So it's getting warm and hot, but not like in the south of Italy. I mean, we got a kind of continental weather.
And so when we look at this picture here,
yes.
what season of the year, what time of the year do you think this picture was taken?
This one was late spring or summer. Not summer yet. Everything is quite green. Yeah. And the vegetation is quite developed. So we're not beginning of the summer, of the spring, more before that the period that all the vegetables start to suffer from the drought, let's say.
Right. Now, and the winery was founded in 1985, but this building that we're looking at here, what year was that building constructed?
This is a 14th century tower.
Wow.
Who is named the Torre del Sole, the Sun Tower. And it was a kind of strategic point in the past for all the battles who took place in the area. So you are dominant in all the area. You see all the Calanchi Valley. From here we got one side, but from all of the 360 degrees, you can see the landscape.
And now what are we looking at here?
So here we are just next where I am, right inside the winery. So you can see first we are underground. We are under the first vineyard planted in '85. So it's an underground cellar. No ventilation, no air conditioning. It's all naturally about the temperature, about the moisture. Everything is regulated naturally through the season. So a bit colder during the winter and a little bit warmer during the summertime. But everything
so this is fully underground, what we're looking at here.
Yeah, and the stone you see, that's the rock, the local rock, the tuffo. So it's the stone made from the volcanic rock here, and it was completely established by the D'Amico family, and it's kind of unique and kind of the best condition to grow, to make wine.
And now are in these barrels on the left side, is that all red wine aging? And then in the tanks, you have a combination of white and red fermenting?
So actually we are in the white winemaking part. So you can see the two different way of making, basically of making wine. The stainless steel tank with kind of the modern way of making wine, keep the wine fresh, aromatics, kind of nice acidity of the wine, of that kind of wine. And the other part, the other way of making wine is the barrel. They are French oak barrel, and here we have the Chardonnay. We will taste, by the way, we will taste later. And so this is the Chardonnay aging in French oak.
Amazing, really cool. And I love that the structure now, this part of the facility was built later, was not as far back as the 14th century, or does some of this go back all the way to the old days?
Yeah, it was built later on for the winery and the accommodation.
That's very interesting. We have a question from Steve. Do you use a dry farming method or do you irrigate?
No, irrigation is not allowed in Europe, basically. So except if you want to be precise, except for the 3 first years where basically the vineyard is not producing grapes yet, we could have the option in Europe to irrigate. We got some phrase, so it's fully dry farmed. Yes, no irrigation.
That's
and
interesting. Yep.
Yep, exactly.
So now you're originally from France, right? Did you grow up learning winemaking in France?
Exactly. So I'm from Alsace in France, just next to Germany and Switzerland. And yeah, I grew up basically in my family. We got a farm, we got agriculture field, we got some vineyards, small vineyard, family vineyards, let's say, not making wine in the past, but let's say I'm driving the tractor since I'm 8 years old and pruning the vineyard since I'm 12, basically. So I grew up in the vineyard, in the field, and yeah, that's what bring me to the winemaking and but at first the soil, the agronomic part, and then the winemaking part.
Right, and the soil obviously has such an important impact and component of the wine style and the winemaking. How did the owners of D'Amico Wines get started in 1985, and what was originally their strategy? What was their point of difference? How did they make it distinct from other wineries in the region?
Well, it's all started by the love they have, the passion about the wine, and especially the Burgundy. So, and after Alsace, I studied Burgundy, so that makes a first connection. But that's the reason why we have we're making some Chardonnay and some Pinot Noir here, and then how it show up is more about looking for the perfect spot. So it took years to them to find a nice spot, something unique. In the wine world, you will never say the best, even for the wine, because the wine world is beautifully too complex, let's say. But kind of unique place, recognized in the past, and ready to still going on in the future. And Vaiano, where we are at the moment, so that kind of, you see, is very hilly. This one is not very hilly. We got some deeper slope, but that kind of landscape we have, the volcanic soil. And what showed up, it was the Vaiano where we are. It was famous in the past to fix the price of all the grapes in their area. So even in the past, several decades ago, it was already well known to have a quality product here.
Mm-hmm. And now here we're seeing the vineyards, which are organically farmed, and the wines are all organic. Are we seeing, is this, do you pick the grapes by hand as well and not by machine?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
So
wow.
we are about, so we are 32 hectares of vineyards. That's it's still the family size, but I mean, it's not the one spot family vineyard. And so it's about a team of about 25 people coming over for the harvest time. And it takes about, as we have quite several varieties, it takes about a month and a half, 2 months to pick all the grapes.
Wow. So for everyone watching, many of whom are in North America, 32 hectares is equal to 80 acres. So that's a lot of vineyards. That's, I mean, how many cases of wine does D'Amico produce every year?
Because we are not speaking cases, we are about 200,000 bottles.
200,000 bottles.
With about 16,000 cases, 17,000 cases.
Yeah, it's 17,000 cases. So you're in the US, you would be considered like a medium-sized winery. I don't know how you rank or where you fit in in the Italian wineries. But
Yes,
that would be
still
a
like
medium.
small, medium family winery. Yes,
Yep, got it.
about the same.
So basically, the original inspiration was the French Burgundy style of wines, and to use the terroir and the volcanic soil and the flavor that comes from that soil and that terroir to make wines in Lazio in Italy. But using, in some of the wines, you're using grapes that only grow in Italy. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we got some autochthon native grapes, and I would say the Burgundy is more the passion who drove them to make that step to accomplish a winery. Then it was once the idea of building a new winery, it was about to find the right spot, something with a heavy past. I mean, with a big story and enough about quality to push to the future. And then everything, yes, they try, and that's why, for example, both the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay are existing. Otherwise, without the volcanic soil, we couldn't do it that way. It will be way too heavy and jammy wine. And here we got the elegance. And the other parts, we are balanced with the native grapes. So we are in the region where the Gregetto is the real native. We still have a kind of Trebbiano, but the most noble one, let's say, is the Gregetto.
So most Americans are familiar with a handful of different grape varietals: Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, etc. Maybe they know of 6 or 8 or 10. How many grape varietals are there in the country of Italy for making wine?
Wow, only speaking about the native, I mean, there are hundreds, and we are still discovering some native, some wide varieties. So it's kind of treasure. Italy is a treasure about the native variety, and that's very a good thing, because you know that the native are the most or the best adaptation about the soil where they are, and so it's all the story who show up from Italy. That's fantastic.
So we have a question. So I want to welcome, special warm welcome from New York to Sid from Vancouver, who's watching. And he's got a question, or she, I don't know if Sid, is it he or she tasted some of your Chardonnay. How do you get such excellent balance and complexity on your Chardonnay? Do you have a bâtonnage on the lees? Okay, so you'll need to explain to everybody what that means, Guillaume. Do you prevent malolactic, or do you use malolactive or not prevent it to have more freshness and acidity? So break that down for those of us, including me, who are just very basic wine knowledge. I love your Chardonnay, but help us understand and answer Sid's question, if you would.
Yeah, sure. So you put the point on one of the most important thing in the wine is the balance. Whatever region you are, whatever vintage is the balance. So the balance could be very high, the acidity high, the alcohol very, the maturity very fully and high levels. Or you can have some fresher vintage, and here with some maybe more acidic, but you have to compensate with other quality of the must of the wine. So the balance is the most important. It's a priority in the wine.
I think the wine that Sid is referring to is this wine, correct?
Correct. So this one it's 100% Chardonnay coming from our oldest vineyard. That's make a first step to the explanation. Old vines bring a very complex and balanced fruit. Then this one is fermented and aged in French oak barrel. So, but I should say lightly oaked. So it got only 20% of new oak. That's why we are putting a lot of effort in the vineyard all year long So it's not then to taste the oak. The oak is here to support the wine and to bring some complexity. But the main character is the variety and the soil. Then the batonnage, yes, I'm stirring a little bit the lees, not too much, because we got here in central Italy, we already have kind of big richness. I mean, you got a full maturity for the Chardonnay. So stirring too much the lees will make the wine too round, you know, it will lose the identity about it, especially against the minerality coming out from the volcanic soil. So stirring the lees at the beginning, and then just by tasting, looking to keep the balance. And there, yes, it's going through the malolactic, but it's up to the vintage. More in the most of the case, I'm going through half malolactic, because the 100% malolactic will bring too much rawness in the wine and too much lactic flavor, let's say.
Right. So, and just to explain for people, because the secondary fermentation. So when a white wine is aged in oak barrels, it usually goes through a secondary fermentation that involves putting yeast in the wine, and that gives it more creamy texture, and it makes it like a Chardonnay gets that really nice oak flavor and vanilla and some creaminess, more body to the wine. And that's what Guillaume is referring to there.
Yeah, it just if I could say, it's the yeast with bacteria, but the most important is not I'm not bringing them. It's a natural fermentation going through. So we're not putting the bacteria for the fermentation. It's a natural process. Some years it starts quite quickly. Some years it starts after the winter.
Yep, got it. No, it's super interesting. So I think let's start tasting wines, Guillaume. And I think we're going to start out with the NOE Orvieto. Is that right?
Exactly. So
And
here we have.
I do want to say one thing to everybody watching. Just full disclosure, of the 4 wines, 2 of them are now available in the United States for the new vintages this year. They just came in at the Heights Chateau shop in Brooklyn, New York. 2 of them are on the way. They're not there yet. So this first one, which is the NOE Orvieto, it's a white wine, is available from Heights Chateau. It's one of the 2 out of the 4 that are you can get them from the shop. So tell us a little bit about this wine, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen now, Guillaume.
Yeah, so the NOE Orvieto, it's the new vintage 2020. It was just it was bottled at the beginning of the year. This is NOE. So NOE is the short name for Mrs. Noemia D'Amico, the owner, and it's an Orvieto denomination. So make of Orvieto means that it's at least based on Greghetto and Trebbiano, so the 2 native variety, Trebbiano and Greghetto. So here we have about 30% of Trebbiano, 40% of Greghetto, so it's the major part, and we have 30% of Pinot Grigio. So it's a 1-block vineyard, and I mean it's the same soil, the same vineyard, and obviously all the wines are coming from our own growing grapes, and then yeah, it's a wonderful expression of the volcanic soil to start. This is kind of our entry-level wine for the people who just discover the wine.
And now this one is only stainless steel tank fermented, so it's very fresh, very crisp and light. Yes. Exactly.
So it's fermented about 3 weeks, very slowly to develop all the flavors, and to have a constant. Even here we got a constant stirring during the fermentation of the fine lees. I kept in the wine, and then you still find a very balanced wine. So first, so here we got the stainless steel. We keep the freshness, the vivacity, the flavors of the wine, and basically it stay on for 5 months on the fine lees, 4 or 5 months on the fine lees.
And now, and is this, what's an occasion? What is a perfect occasion to open this bottle and drink it?
Look, well, this is a very lovely wine. Here we're looking for wine who is kind of easy to understand, easy to drink, but still to reach our identity, the volcanic soil, the minerality. So even if it's the entry-level wine, we have a nice minerality at the end of the palate. So you could appreciate it for the appetizer. You know, having glass with your friends, that's the perfect moment to share that kind of wine. You can start a dinner with the wine to just, you know, to the appetizer, l'antipasto, as we said in Italy. And just having a very fresh, flavored and authentic wine.
Very, very refreshing. And so I always ask this question, Guillaume, does this wine make you thirsty or hungry?
Thirsty.
Thirsty. So I was gonna say thirsty. So, and Steve just offered great suggestions. Steve, salad, cheese, fish, summertime. I think this is like rosé. This is a wine you can bring to the pool or the beach or a picnic. It's a casual wine, not fussy, just fun and refreshing. Exactly
right. And the 2020, the vintage was fully, I mean, in this whole pandemic situation, it was our sunshine, our sunlight. And because the 2020 vintage was absolutely fantastic, we got a fully ripe harvest. And so you got, even if it's the entry-level wine, you have a very well balanced body. You got a nice acidity, but not too much. And you have, thanks to the lees, as we mentioned before, even for the NOE, we still have kind of nice roundness and feeling the minerality. So it's a first touch with our philosophy.
Yep. Okay, great. So let's go on wine number 2, which is the Agylla 2019. Now this one is a native, 100% native grape. This is the Grighetto grape. I love the label. I love that the Etruscan vase that looks like an ancient vase from this part of Italy.
Sure. Yep. Etruscan. Exactly. You get it. So this is a fully brand new wine. It's the first vintage. You say I'm trying for a few years now the Grighetto because from the past all the Grighetto is going to the Orvieto, the NOE we just saw before, but I make some trial by the side internal, and Grighetto it's coming beautifully well in the volcanic soil. But you know, it's existing a lot of Grighetto still, and putting something different, looking always deeper of the expression of the soil, of this unique volcanic soil, and I tried the amphora. So it's in clay, like you see on the label. This is an Etruscan amphora. And the difference is that instead of being in a stainless steel tank, we saw that it brings a lot of quality. It keeps a lot of quality to the wine, about the flavors, about the freshness, about how you're using the lees, very easy to work with. But it's kind of hermetic tank. You know, if you want to keep a wine and didn't evolve, that's the perfect vessel. But here in the amphora, we were looking for another step of authenticity. So we are looking for a wine still based on the fruity parts, but being able to age. And that's the perfect match. So the amphora, against to compare to the barrel, it's neutral. It doesn't have any impact on the flavors, on the aromas.
Now this one it's one grape. It's stainless steel fermented. So this is also going to be very refreshing. Yeah.
So it's fermented in the amphora.
Oh, it's fermented in amphora, which is made of what?
So it's clay. So it's
Clay.
terracotta.
Wow.
Yeah. So Italy, it's the mother of the terracotta, of the clay. We get a lot of historical tradition. Basically, in the past, the Italian transport moved the wine in the amphora, and the French moved the wine or transport the wine in the barrel, in the oak barrel. So it's kind of back to the basic, like we are in the vineyard, going back to putting trees in the vineyard to increase the biodiversity in the vineyard. We're putting really creating a whole new, it was in the past, ecosystem with a lot of diversity. And here the wine is the same, is a wine who can breathe in the amphora and still aging on the fine lees.
All right, so I have a very ignorant question. What does the clay tank or vessel in which this wine is fermented, does the clay give it certain flavor that it would not have if it were in stainless steel?
No, so that's the point. It's completely neutral, no impact, about the flavor. So that's why it's very interesting. But because until now, if you want to make breathe your wine, putting air to the wine, it was through the barrel, and maybe even through an old barrel if you don't want to have the barrel toast, the oak notes. Here you got something really respectful from the wine, but it lets the wine breathing through the amphora.
So unlike stainless steel, the clay allows the wine to breathe when it's fermented.
Exactly.
Wow, that's interesting. So now what are the tasting notes? What's this wine like? How would you describe this one? What's an occasion and maybe a food to combine this wine with?
Sure. So first, the choice of the Grighetto, because we can choose the Chardonnay or maybe even the Pinot Grigio, could be interesting in the amphora. But here, the Grighetto is the variety. We got a lot of personality, a lot of character. It got a heavy skin on the grapes. The berry got a heavy skin, so it can reach the full maturity, will not be hurt by the rot or by the, let's say, by the late rain in the season. So we will have always a very nice and complete maturity. Then about the flavors, the Grighetto is known to have a very nice intensity about the flavors. And here you can find some honey notes, some Mediterranean herbs, yellow flowers. We got some beautiful fruity yellow fruit notes. And then you got kind of a little of pear. You got some excuse me, I'm saying almond notes and a lot of minerality to close the wine.
This has a lot of flavor, this wine.
It got a huge complexity. Complexity. And that's one of the reasons we let them breathe in the amphora.
So interesting. Now, when will this be? I'm dying to drink this wine because it sounds fascinating. When will this be available in the United States for us to buy here?
So we just released the wine. So got, to be honest, we got no playing for the moment, and we just introduced the wine a few weeks ago, and we will see for the as soon as possible. But for the moment, I will not. I can't tell you a date.
But it's coming.
And still available in Italy, of course.
Right.
And it's a very, very, very low production. So we are about 2,000 bottles.
Now, do you ship? If somebody wants to buy it from the winery, can they purchase it and have it sent from D'Amico Wines to the US?
We are present on the website. You can buy from the website. Then we have to look about the transport feed,
Yeah.
but
So it's
possible,
a little bit complicated because you have to get the transport and the.
Yeah. That would be the big deal.
Well, this one sounds amazing. What's your favorite food to pair the Agylla with?
I recently tried the white truffle pasta, and it just went amazingly well.
That's great. All right, so
and then you got cheese. I mean, you can have mostly. I will say you can make some white meat, but I will more consider it the fish, like the grilled lobster. Lobster will be fantastic. Even the turbot with the butter, not too much butter.
Turbot,
I would avoid the heavy sauce because it's just a wine. You got kind of a nice body, so not making heavy on heavy.
Well, I can't wait for that one to be available here in the States. So let's go to wine number 3, which is, we talked about a little bit before, which is the Chardonnay. And that is the Falesia. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Falesia, exactly.
Falesia,
yes.
which is an oak-aged Chardonnay. And I will put that up on the screen right now. We talked about this one. We have a sense of the tasting notes here. This is going to be a creamier, more full-bodied white wine. It has that has the oak aging in barrels. What is a good food pairing for the Falesia, which I just put up on the screen here?
So here we're going. I mean, we're staying on the. You know, sometimes you say that the Chardonnay is red, the guys in white. So yes. The pairing is quite large, and I will recommend it kind of. You can have the sea bass salt crusted. You can have I tried in the past the scallop with lemon butter reduction. That was awesome. A basic and fantastic smoked salmon. Chicken with curry. I mean, it's not the usual fresh, and you got a very well balanced. You got a big body, and then it's coming from 36 years old vineyards. So it's on the top, let's say on the complexity of production, and we make some nights with some dinner with some chef in Italy and over in the US, and they were amazed. All the wine, for white wine, I'm speaking, is going over all the species, all the red onion. It's even going over the red onion, over it was last time it was a heavy spice, who just, get at the end fit very well with the wine.
Now, and
still,
this one, similar to the Agylla, hopefully soon will be available in retail in the US, yeah?
This one will be available by June in the US. Yeah. It's coming with the new order who's coming now.
Last year, Guillaume, I had the previous vintage, the 2017, and it was great. This is a full-bodied Chardonnay with a really nice mouthfeel, creamy, a little bit of that oak and vanilla notes. It was terrific. I thought it was great.
And it's important to say that it's lightly oaked.
It's not heavy oak. It's very light on the oak.
Yeah, it's only 20% of new oak, and all the rest of the volume it's used oak or second or first, third. And here you see the authenticity, as I told you before with the Gregato, the authenticity, we believe in our soil. So first it's the expression of the soil through the variety, through the Chardonnay, and we are more, I mean, we're putting a lot of effort in the vineyards, and we are more hands-off in the winery, just, you know, looking that the wine stay on the right way.
Yep. Great. So now I'm pleased to say that the number 4, the final selection of the tasting here, is now available in the States and at Heights Chateau, our retail partner that is helping make the wines available to our audience, Vila Tirrena. So this is a red wine blend. And
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the grapes that go into it, the tasting notes, and what's your favorite occasion and food to combine this with.
So Vila Tirrena is the name of the house of the owner of Noemia and Paolo here in Italy on the estate. So it's a kind of well-known name in the area. As you said, it's a blend of 2 varieties. It's 90% Merlot and 10% Syrah.
Interesting.
And here you see,
okay.
Yeah, and here you see the brand new label. So before the label was white, and now we just put a new design on it, and to match with the other red wine. And it's a fantastic black label.
So what are the characteristics or the tasting notes of this one?
So this one is after the fermentation, who is going through a maceration before the fermentation. Then we got a long mid-temperature fermentation, and then another maceration to really take out all the flavors and the ripe tannins. And then is aged for 12 months in French oak barrel. And the same philosophy that the wine before than the Falesia, lightly oaked. Here we are still on 25-30% of new oak for the same reason. I mean, we bring a fully mature grapes inside the winery. It's not to taste then the barrel, it's to taste where it's come from, the origin. So the volcanic soil have a big impact even on the red. Then the organic way we're producing the grapes. So all low yield, very nice flavors, and very healthy grapes bringing in. And then, so here, once again, the barrel is just here to support the wine and to bring some complexity and to make all the work about the structure, stabilize the tannins and the structure of the wine. But this is kind of medium body red. I mean, when it come over 2016, it will be ready to drink, and we'll get a wonderful red fruit notes, some black fruits too, some black currant especially. Then you got a very silky tannins, a wine kind of round at the end, and very, very pleasant to drink at the moment.
And this wine, would it go with one of those famous dishes from Lazio? Would it go with the carbonara or the amatriciana?
Amatriciana.
It would go with which is a red sauce, yeah?
With all the red meats. I mean, he got enough body to get with the games too. Entrecote with mushroom, let's say. But with the amatriciana, it's not, you know, it's not that kind of very heavy wine. You feel the barrel or got kind of a bit of austerity. It's very, I mean, you could say very available and welcoming wine. So, yeah. But still the maturity from where we are. So a fully mature wine.
We have a question from Sid. Any thoughts of using some of the Gregato grapes with the Chardonnay, similar to how Antinori does with Castello de la Sala?
Yes, well, yeah, that's right. But that's our purist side to not doing that kind of blend. So all you see all the grapes except the first wine. Then we're making 9 wines in total, and but we are only 2 or 3 we got we are blended, and we like, and I like, and with the owner we are on the same page about that. Is we love the purity of the expression. It's like that's why is the reason why we put the Gregato in amphora is to looking always deeper in the authenticity of the soil. So making something always pleasant, because wine is made to drink and to have pleasure, but still to travel. And with that kind of wine, with the Agylla, with the Falesia, and even with the NOE, you feel the mineralities. There's not too much oak in the Chardonnay. I mean, the wine bring you in my place. I mean, we're making drinking together. So that's for me as a family winery, as having a unique terroir, is the authenticity. And when you're blending, it's not that you're losing something. Maybe something interesting could show up, but we're staying on the 100% grapes.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And the fact of the matter is you're staying true to your philosophy and your strategy for the wines and how you want them to come out. I agree with Nancy. By the way, Nancy, I've had the Vila Tirrena, and it is really well rounded and balanced, but it's a beautiful, elegant red wine, but it has enough body and structure that it can go with a bucatini alla matriciana or a red sauce pasta like that. And that's one of the things I love about, Italian wines and also French wines from, for example, Bordeaux. They have incredible finesse and balance, but they also have enough structure and body to go with lots of very flavorful and tasty, delicious foods. So
yeah, this is kind of our identity, the elegance from the volcanic soil. It makes, I mean, the elevated aromatics and the saline, the minerals age to the palate are quite evident. So this is kind of very based characteristic of the volcanic soil, the elegance part of the wine.
I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure. Guillaume, this is the second time that we have done this. We did it last year, I think in June of last year. It was really fun, really amazing to get to know the winery. And the more I learn about the volcanic soil, the more impressed I am with how the terroir and your area has such a tremendous and distinct impact on the wines and the flavor, which is,
you're more than welcome to come and see directly here. I will say, and we even have the vine plant growing in the two four rocks. So yeah, it's kind of the rustic viticulture, and this is the beautiful landscape we have from in front of the winery. So this is quite amazing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this tells the story, right? I mean, you see the hills and you can see how the volcanic soil is right there, and this gives the wine that distinct characteristic.
Is on the way to be on the UNESCO heritage. If it's not this year, it will be next year.
Yeah.
And once again, I would say, if you can come when the situation will little by little, the situation is going back to normal, hopefully. And please come over. We have some commodity. We have kind of hotel right to the next to the winery. It's called Vila Tirrena Resort. You can find it on the website. We are the same on the winery. So Vila Tirrena, the same name of the wine, Vila Tirrena Resort on Instagram, Facebook, and you can stay having a good time here, see the beautiful dying village in back on of you, and discover the central Italy. It's not the most famous, but it's got all the noblesse in it.
Yeah, I want to say, like, that's one of the things that I think is fascinating about we could go on all day, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. The fact of the matter is that you can visit and stay at the most beautiful winery in Lazio, which is D'Amico Winery. As Guillaume said, they have a beautiful boutique hotel, and just the whole experience is amazing. And I recommend traveling there. Things will open up in Italy, I think, in the fall, in the latter part of the year. And so I do highly recommend it. And a lot of people think about Tuscany or maybe even Piemonte or other parts of Italy. The fact of the matter is that Lazio is amazing. And you're only 50 miles from Rome, which is, some of the best food in the world. Anyway,
Exactly.
but Guillaume, thank you so much for doing this. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. We love hosting these sessions and learning about these wine regions and these wines and what makes them special. So it's great. And thank you all for joining us today. Please tune in. Next week, we are doing a New York State craft distillery tasting. We're going up to Cooper's Daughter, which is an incredible small craft distillery. And we will be doing and making during the session 2 special cocktails with these great bourbons and spirits that they make at Cooper's Daughter. So join us next week. That'll be at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, the 28th. Guillaume, thank you. We will see you in Lazio soon.
Thank you. It was a pleasure thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to see you again, and hopefully the closest you can.
We'll see you in Italy. All right. Have a great one. Take care, everybody.
Take care. Cheers to everyone.
Cheers.